Amidst the labyrinth of alleys in the city, among graffiti-covered walls and the acrid smell of asphalt, lived Michael, a boy with sky-blue eyes and a shy smile. His home was the cold street, his blanket the starry sky, and his only companion the echo of the wind whispering stories through the cracks in the buildings. Michael carried with him a peculiar dream: to talk to God. On cold nights, when loneliness weighed on him, he would lift his face to the sky, seeking in the eyes of the stars the answers to his questions and comfort for his sorrows. On a gray day, much like many others, Michael met Lucas, another street kid, older and hardened by life's cruelties. Lucas, with his tired eyes and bitter voice, mocked Michael's dream. "God is too busy with important things to care about a boy like you," he said. "Give up that fantasy and accept reality." Lucas's words hit Michael like a punch in the stomach. He felt small, insignificant, as if his dream was just a childish foolishness. But deep inside, a flame stubbornly continued to burn. That same night, as the stars twinkled like diamonds on the velvet sky, Michael met Anna, a young volunteer from a shelter for the homeless. Anna, with her gentle manner and warm smile, approached Michael, and noticing the sadness in his eyes, asked about his dreams. With a hesitant voice, Michael shared his desire to talk to God. Anna listened attentively, her eyes brimming with emotion. "God is never too busy to hear a child's heart," she said. "He loves you, Michael, and he is always by your side, even if you can't see him." Anna's words reignited the hope in Michael's heart. He resumed looking up at the sky, confident that his voice would be heard. And so, on a night of silver moonlight, Michael sat on an old crate, raised his face to the stars, and, with a heart overflowing with faith, began to speak. "God, I am here, alone, with no one to hear me, but I know you can hear me. I dream of talking to you, of telling you my fears, my sorrows, my desires. I want to know if you are watching me, if you care about me." A profound silence took over the night. Michael closed his eyes, waiting for an answer. Suddenly, a voice, gentle as the wind, whispered in his ears, "Michael, my child, I have always seen you. I have always been by your side, even in the hardest moments. I know every tear you have shed, every fear that haunts you, every dream you keep in your heart." God's voice was like a balm for Michael's soul. He felt a comforting warmth fill his being, and tears welled up in his eyes. "God," Michael whispered, "I feel so alone." "You will never be alone, Michael," God replied. "I am always with you. Within you, you carry my strength, my light, my hope." Michael listened intently to God's words, absorbing every lesson like a sponge. God taught him to overcome losses, to deal with failures, to face fears, and to discover the inner strength he possessed. One day, Michael was walking through the deserted streets of the city, his stomach rumbling like thunder, hungry. It had been days since he had eaten anything decent, just crumbs and leftovers he found in the garbage. Hunger pressed against his chest like a handful of thorns lodged in his soul. It was Christmas Eve, and the cold night air was cut by the distant sound of bells and Christmas carols. The colorful lights in the store windows seemed to mock his hunger and loneliness. Michael felt even more abandoned, like a castaway in a sea of indifference. Suddenly, his eyes stopped at a familiar object, bread, still warm and soft, in a basket in front of a bakery. The ground was dirty. He hesitated for a moment, torn between hunger and disgust. But hunger was relentless, and he bent down, grabbing the bread with trembling hands. As he bit into the bread, Michael tasted something different, a heavenly flavor he had never experienced before. It was as if God himself had blessed that food, turning it into a divine feast. Moved, Michael lifted his eyes to the sky, tears welling in his eyes. He thanked God for that unexpected gift, for having heard his hunger and given him a sign of his presence in his life. At that moment, Michael felt a deep peace take over his being. His physical hunger had been satisfied, but the hunger of his soul had also been eased. He knew that God was with him, even in the toughest moments, and that he would never abandon him. On a cold day, when everything seemed gray, the sun was setting on the horizon. Suddenly, an old lady was walking down the city streets. The old lady, who introduced herself as Madeline, offered Michael to come to her house. Michael, somewhat wary, accepted the invitation. He was very cold. "Come in, my child," she said in a sweet, welcoming voice. "Here you will find warmth, food, and a place to rest." Grandma Madeline offered Michael a steaming bowl of soup and a soft piece of bread. He devoured the meal hungrily, savoring every bite as if it were a royal banquet. As he ate, Michael told Grandma Madeline about his life on the streets, about the hunger, the cold, and the loneliness that followed him day after day. The old lady listened attentively, her eyes brimming with compassion. When he finished talking, Grandma Madeline said, "Michael, you no longer need to live on the streets. You can stay here with me. I have an empty room, and you can help me with the house chores." Michael was speechless. Grandma Madeline's offer was like a dream coming true. He never imagined that someone could offer him a home, a place where he would be welcomed and loved. With tears in his eyes, he thanked Grandma Madeline for her kindness and accepted her offer. That night, Michael slept for the first time in a warm and comfortable bed, under the shelter of a welcoming roof. He fell asleep with a smile on his face, and a heart overflowing with gratitude. From that day on, Michael's life completely transformed. He lived happily with Grandma Madeline, helping her with the house chores and learning from her wisdom and experience. He had finally found a home, a family, and the hope of a better future. Michael and Grandma Madeline's story teaches us that kindness and love can transform lives. It reminds us never to judge people by appearances, for often behind a weary face and worn clothes lies a pure soul and a heart full of hope. Michael's story teaches us that faith, hope, and love are the most powerful tools we have to overcome life's obstacles. It reminds us that we are never alone, that God is always by our side, ready to listen, comfort, and guide us. It is a story that invites us to look to the sky, not just with our physical eyes, but with an open heart, and to find the inner strength to keep going even when the stars seem dim. If you find yourself as Michael once was, sad, down, discouraged, thinking God doesn't love you, hear you, or care about you, know that God is your best friend. He is a safe and present Father who loves you more than anything in this universe. Whenever you want to talk to Him, God will be listening attentively to your call. If you liked this message, share it with your friends and help us grow our community of faith and hope. May this message, wherever it reaches, bear fruit and reach even more people. Subscribe to our channel, Resilience and Faith, and leave in the comments the story of your life. Who knows, one day your story might appear here. God bless you, and see you in the next video.